I wanted to say that the work that we did was sometimes rigorous and it was sometimes grueling, and it was a process of doing all the research on residential schools and contacting the high school and putting the presentation together, and we did it independently by each separate group. I think it was through that process that we began to realize the gravity of the subject. A lot of what we researched was learned for the very first time because a lot of the students that were teaching, the high school students, had gone through these exact school systems. Not the residential school systems, the Toronto and Greater Toronto area systems that didn't really have it integrated into the curriculum. Along with statistics of missing children, current rates of poverty, depression, and so on, a lot of the valuable information we gathered came from experiences shared by survivors themselves. The Truth and Reconciliation hearings that are posted online, which you can probably look at if you're willing to have a good cry, articles written by survivors, photos, and other primary testaments each brought new stories of alienation, abuses physical and psychological, and trauma that reverberated through generations of families. It was enraging that this was a largely omitted part of Canada's history, especially when memory lived on in communities and many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people were removed from their languages, traditions, families, and have faced outright institutional marginalization and racism. We felt responsibility as non-Indigenous Canadians, and we wanted our students to feel the same. We went to Avondale Alternative, which is like an alternative style high school. It was very small. Everybody was kind of cramped on the floor and the chairs and on tables, but they were completely silent while we were speaking to them, which was really surprising. They had a lot of questions afterwards about the impacts of colonialism, whether this was counted as genocide, and stereotyping of Indigenous people. It was gratifying to see students actually respond to a presentation that wasn't dressed up as entertainment. This was a baby step that I took with this group, and we introduced that baby step to our students alongside ourselves. It was simply about being informed, and the most important thing I took away from it was how pressing it was to integrate Indigenous history and the truth about the residential school system into the Canadian history curricula. But that was just the beginning. Several of my peers and myself spoke at a conference organized at Calumet College, two of which are here today. The college conference included survivors sharing their experiences, and to actually listen to such sobering, upsetting memories really puts the importance of Indigenous rights into perspective. But the thing was, I had a survivor come up to me and several of my peers afterwards to thank us for speaking. And I had also the good fortune, along with a fellow student, to travel to Montreal last Friday with Professor Dawson to attend and speak at a Truth and Reconciliation national event. It was like the Calumet College conference, but on this massive scale. There were 26 survivors that were speaking in public and on camera, and there were about 61, I believe, that spoke in private. After we spoke here too, we had people come up to us and congratulate and encourage us, which was amazing, and it was so surreal to have people of whom I should have been thanking for their bravery of speaking out, thanking me for what I had done. It made me realize how important this was to Indigenous communities to have their realities recognized by the rest of Canadians as real, as a part of history, and as a continuing problem that needs addressing. I never thought that this kind of experiential learning and the kind of group work that I wasn't really accustomed to would be taking me to Montreal and having me interact with these amazing, wonderful people. And I also wanted to thank Professor Dawson for giving us the opportunity, because it was really very much so a transformative experience, and it's definitely influenced the track of myself as an undergrad. So thank you very much.